good evening, and we all hope that you had a good Sunday. But it's time to look forward to the upcoming week. Welcome to this week's edition of Looking Forward. And this show, Looking Forward, is about the stories that will be shaping up over the next 7 days. Hopefully the next 7 days in the weeks ahead. The news that is developing and will have consequences across India and will impact our choices. Stories that could shape India and world's politics and economics going forward. So let's get started with tonight's edition of Looking Forward. And on the show this evening, we begin from Washington, where just 48 hours after India gave a measured response to the US President Donald Trump's mediation claims, Trump has fired back, not with words, but with a 25% tariff threat on India's imports. Is this a desperate lunge at global relevance? Is it a negotiating stunt or a geopolitical tantrum? Now, one thing's certain, that as the India-US trade standoff escalates, New Delhi is watching closely, and so are we. Back home, the monsoon session enters day 3, and we are looking out politically for what happens in Parliament. 2 weeks gone, 47 crores spent, your money, public money. But Parliament still looks more like a protest stage than a legislative floor. Will week 3 be any different? Will there be work done in Parliament? Meanwhile, August 5th marks 6 years since the abrogation of Article 370, a move that rewrote the constitutional reality of Jammu and Kashmir. Now, critics warned of bloodshed and uprising, but instead, Kashmir saw calm until Pahalgam, of course. As political actors, security forces, residents gear up for local body elections, we look here at Republic at what's changed in Kashmir, what's yet to change, and why statehood still remains a polarizing political fault line. And finally, to our east, where Bangladesh marks 1 year since what many call the July uprising, and others call it a coup. Mohammad Yunus may now be in power, but the promised democratic reforms remain a pipe dream for Bangladesh. Foreign ties have shifted sharply towards Beijing and Islamabad, and as Dhaka heads into another election year without a clear elected leader, we're all watching anxiously. Is this a temporary holding of power or the new normal? So that's what we have lined up tonight. 4 stories, 1 big week coming up, all angles. Let's begin with the headlines. Election Commission issues a fresh notice to RJD leader Tejasvi Yadav after his missing name claim backfires in Bihar. Mamata Banerjee will be holding a virtual meeting with Trinamool Congress MPs over electoral roll revision. Is she also fearing a similar fate in Bengal? Why is she so nervous? Asian Cricket Council announces venue for India-Pakistan match. They seem to be excited. BCCI, for some reason, continuing to maintain a strange silence. Why are we even encouraging this talk of playing Pakistan? Fresh firing again in South Kashmir's Kulgam. Operation Akal, one of the biggest crackdowns on the Lashkar-e-Toiba, continues. We are into day 3. FIR registered against a senior army officer after he's caught on camera assaulting 4 SpiceJet staff at the Srinagar airport. Ladies and gentlemen, while fireworks went off in the Indian Parliament during Operation Sindoor debate all of last week, the truth was a little harder to digest in the White House in Washington. Within 48 hours of our Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the External Affairs Minister Jaishankar's official response to the Trump mediation claim, The US president went berserk, went ballistic with a 25% tariff threat and a rant on India's trade relationship vis-a-vis Russia. Now, was this Trump's knee-jerk response to a fading Nobel Prize dream? Now, he thinks the world revolves around his mediation efforts, his ceasefire claims, his chest thumping over a war in Ukraine he claimed had decisively failed to mediate. He claimed he was going to mediate, he's going to stop the war. Hasn't happened ever since he took office. Or a theatrical tactic to strong-arm India's tough negotiators on the trade table. Now, one thing is clear. There is a lot more left for Trump to shift. Will he shift the goalpost once again this week? But here's the latest as the nation braces for the upcoming week vis-a-vis the MAGA or the Make America Great Again versus the Make India Great Again trade war, which has turned into a big spectacle from New Delhi to Washington.
Among the leaders here today, the Indian-American community is helping to strengthen our country and build our future.
And President Donald Trump shaking hands, a warm hug, and deepen the ties further.
This is unprecedented. जब अमेरिका और भारत साथ मिलकर काम करते हैं यानी मागा प्लस मीगा तब बन जाता है मेगा पार्टनरशिप फॉर प्रॉस्पेरिटी.
A strategic partnership now in crisis.
As you know, Prime Minister Modi is a friend of mine, but they don't do very much business in terms of business with us. They sell a lot to us, but we don't buy from them. You know why? Because the tariff is so high. They have one of the highest tariffs in the world. Now they're willing to cut it very substantially, but we'll see what happens. We're talking to India now. We'll see what happens.
India and United States are locked in a game of poker as negotiations continue.
Look, India's they're my friends and he's my friend. And, you know, they ended the war with Pakistan at my request. And India has charged basically more tariffs than almost any other country.
India has finally decided to call the bluff.
दुनिया के किसी भी नेता ने भारत के ऑपरेशन रोकने के लिए नहीं कहा.
सर, मैं उनको कहना चाहता हूं वो कान खोल के सुन लें कि 22 अप्रैल से 16 जून तक एक भी फोन कॉल प्रेसिडेंट ट्रंप और प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदी के बीच नहीं.
Within hours, Trump did what he knows best, a tariff threat and a temper tantrum.
A lot of people infer so. I'm not sure whether that's the intention, but the very fact that in the parliamentary debate, India has made it very clear that he has played no role, probably that may have infuriated it, but I think it may not be fair to link the two because I have no reason to ascertain that this is something which has happened, but that could be one of the possible reasons.
As President Trump now rolls out punitive reciprocal tariffs, a full-on trade war is on the horizon that has jeopardized a $100 billion trade export bill and a $500 billion trade deal promise.
सरकार हमारे किसानों, श्रमिकों, एंटरप्रेन्योर्स, उद्यमी, निर्यातकों, सूक्ष्म लघु और मध्यम उद्योगों और उद्योग जगत के सभी हितधारकों के कल्याण की रक्षा और संवर्धन को सर्वोच्च महत्व देती है. हम अपने राष्ट्रीय हितों को सुरक्षित करने और आगे बढ़ाने के लिए सभी आवश्यक कदम उठाएंगे.
The tariffs which America will announce or is announcing on India very much are impacting. They are part of the trade negotiations, right? So it will impact the trade negotiations. It will impact the medium term, short term, and the long term trade arrangement that emerges in the US-India negotiations. So these will definitely, they are impacting right now.
Questions are now rising whether all of this is just an elaborate negotiation tactic.
In fact, the very fact that even after imposition of the reciprocal tariff of 25%, US team is visiting India, they are supposed to be in India in the second half of August, shows that they are also willing to negotiate further. And I'm pretty sure that the higher reciprocal tariff has been imposed only till India negotiate the BTA. In a way, it may accentuate the BTA also, because unless the BTA is concluded, Indian exports will be subject to a little higher tariff, and once BTA is concluded, the tariff will be come down. So I think both sides have shown the willingness that despite the reciprocal tariff, they are willing to negotiate further.
The short-term impact of the tariffs is minimal and will affect $40 billion worth of trade with India, sweeping across sectors like electrical machines, gems, textiles, marine products, leather products, and chemicals. However, even Trump wasn't as rash in his short-sightedness, exempting major imports like pharmaceuticals and auto components, coppers and metals, and electrical goods from his tirade to dampen the effect on the US consumer.
Principle, simple line: power is power. And Donald Trump has inherited US power. It is the power of the US dollar, it's the power of the US financial system, it's the power of the US military, it's the power of US hegemony in terms of being the largest economy in the world. It has happened over a long period of time. Donald Trump is sitting on that seat and leveraging that. You can do it in the short run. And he's doing it in the short run. I genuinely believe over time, there's a very important aspect of trust. Why do people put money in dollars? They trust it. And trust takes a long time to build, but can be eroded very fast. And I genuinely feel that the approach which the US has taken may serve it in the short run, but in the long run, it will have a price which the United States of America will pay to the world.
Questions are now being asked on how should the Indian government react.
India and the United States share a comprehensive global strategic partnership anchored in shared interests, democratic values, and robust people-to-people ties. This partnership has weathered several transitions and challenges. We remain focused on the substantive agenda that the two countries have committed to and are confident that the relationship will continue to move forward.
I think the government needs to chip in to provide some kind of support. There are cost disability factor in Indian exports also, and to make export competitive, it will be fair that if also government chips in. The good thing is that government has started negotiating, meeting the exporter immediately. The Honorable Commerce and Industry Minister has met the exporter yesterday. He's meeting even today, and we are also preparing our suggestion to the government, which needs to be looked into till the BTA is concluded. We are still of the view that since the two leadership has decided for the BTA till the fall of 2025, which means September, October, so it's a temporary problem, and if we can support the export during this temporary problem, probably Indian export will continue to show a robust growth, which they are showing in any case for our export to US.
It's not just trade. Trump has taken direct aim at India's purchases of Russian oil and its arms purchases from Russia.
Sourcing of defense requirements that you talked about is determined solely by our national security imperatives and strategic assessment. Similarly, the sourcing of our energy needs, we are guided by what is available in the markets
and by prevailing global circumstances. We have a strong defense and energy partnership with the United States, which has been strengthened in the last several years. And there is a potential for this partnership to grow further under the India-US Compact for the 21st century.
Despite these challenges, New Delhi is gearing up to welcome the US delegation on August 25th for the 6th round of talks to secure an interim trade agreement. Meanwhile, Trump's new tariffs, despite the brouhaha, are now set to go into force on August 7th. Another extension he clearly said he wouldn't give. But are we at a point of no return? Will this crisis doom the negotiations? Can MAGA and MEGA not go hand in hand? Or does Modi diplomacy still have a rabbit to pull from the hat? India and US are at a crossroad, and it's certainly going to be a mega showdown.
Viewers, brace yourselves. It's time for week 3 of the monsoon session of Parliament. Operation Sindoor debate is done. Last week, you had the Prime Minister speak, leading ministers Amit Shah, Rajnath Singh. You had the External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar. This week, there's likely to be the political agenda that could take center stage, looking at the noises that are being made. The SIR, the special SIR exercise in Bihar. The storm is going to take over as fireworks could continue. From Donald Trump's tariff tirade to Justice Verma impeachment controversy, the gloves are off and the stage is set for another explosive week. But the question, will opposition behave, or will disruptions continue to cost the exchequer, cost you and me? Because in the first 2 weeks alone, the chaos has cost India about 47 crore rupees. That's how much we've lost in the time in Parliament through disruptions. All eyes are now on week 3, looking forward.
Two weeks of monsoon session gone. Rupees 47 crore down the drain. One big debate. Operation Sindoor wrapped up. And now, Parliament steps into week 3 of the monsoon session.
आप प्रश्नकाल जैसे महत्वपूर्ण विषय पर चर्चा नहीं करना चाहते, माननीय सदस्य मैं फिर आग्रह कर रहा हूं, आप सदन को नियोजित तरीके से बाधित करना चाहते हैं। आपको इसलिए भेजा है, जनता ने चुनकर नारेबाजी के लिए भेजा है। सदन की कार्रवाई आज 2 बजे तक के लिए स्थगित की जाती है।
ये मेंबर्स के हित का है। आप से आग्रह है कि आप प्लीज 0 आवर होने दे, क्वेश्चन आवर चलाएं। मैं आग्रह करूंगा कि अपनी सीट पर जाएं और चलने दें। प्लीज गो बैक टू योर सीट्स। The House stands adjourned to meet at 2 p.m.
Week 2 ended with a bang. Home Minister Shah, Prime Minister Modi, BJP President JP Nadda and EAM Jaishankar, all leading from the front and center.
आप निकाल दीजिए पाकिस्तान के सारे बयान, और यहाँ हमारा विरोध करने वाले लोगों के बयान फुल स्टॉप कॉमा के साथ एक है। क्या कहेंगे इसको?
जो लोग हमसे आज पूछ रहे हैं पहलगाम का क्या हुआ, पहलगाम का क्या हुआ, वो पूछने के पहले अपने गिरबान में जरूर झांक करके देखें कि उन्होंने कब क्या किया। अदर देन जम्मू कश्मीर, सारे देश में टेररिस्ट अटैक बंद हो गए हैं। इस बात को हमको समझ लेना चाहिए।
But the opposition did not sit quietly. Leader of opposition Rahul Gandhi and Priyanka Vatra led the counter-attack.
The government of India says any act of terror is an act of war. Now, do you understand what this statement is saying? What this statement is saying is that any terrorist now who wants to make India fight a war has just got to do one attack in India. मतलब आपने पूरी की पूरी पावर आतंकवादियों को उठा के दे दी। इस देश के नागरिकों की सुरक्षा की जिम्मेदारी किसकी है? क्या इस देश के प्रधानमंत्री की नहीं है? क्या इस देश के गृह मंत्री की नहीं है? क्या इस देश के रक्षा मंत्री की नहीं है?
हम आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी से जानना चाहते थे, अगर पाकिस्तान वाकई में अपने घुटने टिकने के लिए तैयार था तो आपने क्यों रुका, आप क्यों रुके और किसके सामने आप झुके, किसके सामने आपने सरेंडर किया?
So with Operation Sindoor done, what next in week number 3 of the parliament? This is opposition's new stick to beat the government. The SIR, Special Summary Revision of the Electoral Rolls in Bihar, an EC-mandated scheduled technical exercise which the opposition calls voter fraud at scale. In fact, Rahul Gandhi even called it poll manipulation. Unable to fathom the defeat in Lok Sabha polls, Rahul has done it again.
हमारे पास ओपन एंड शट प्रूफ है कि इलेक्शन कमीशन वोट चोरी में इन्वॉल्व है, और मैं लाइटली नहीं बोल रहा हूं, मैं 100% प्रूफ के साथ बोल रहा हूं। और जो हमें मिला है वो एटम बॉम्ब है, मतलब एटम बॉम्ब है, फटेगा तो आप इलेक्शन कमीशन आपको दिखेगा नहीं हिंदुस्तान।
But the defense minister too did not hold back in taking on Rahul, replying to him in his own tone, unsparing and direct.
कल नेता प्रतिपक्ष ने फिर से एक अनारगल बयान दिया है और उन्होंने कहा है कि चुनाव आयोग द्वारा वोट चोरी को लेकर उन्होंने सबूतों का एटम बम तैयार किया है। मैं राहुल जी से कहना चाहूंगा बहुत विनम्रता के साथ, अगर आपके पास सबूतों का एटम बम है तो उसका परीक्षण तुरंत कर डालिए, मगर सच्चाई यह है कि उनके पास न कोई तथ्य है न सबूत है। सनसनीखेज बातें करना उनकी पुरानी आदत है।
On the other hand, Congress's Indie partner and RJD's Tejasvi Yadav also sparked a new row. He claimed that his name was missing from the Bihar voter polls.
ये एप्लीकेशन है, मेरा भी नहीं है, हम चुनाव कैसे लड़ेंगे? अभी तो देखिए, ये चुनाव आयोग का एप्लीकेशन है और मेरा ईपीआईसी नंबर हमने इसमें डाला है। ईपीआईसी नंबर अगर आप चाहें तो हम बता भी दें। RAB 2916-120 इसमें कैप्चा आता है। हाँ, अच्छा है। अब हम डालते हैं, आप देखिए, डालो। What does it mean?
But now there's a bigger twist. Official records show Tejasvi listed under his old EPIC number, triggering a probe into possible duplication or forgery. BJP's Sambit Patra did not hold back. He slammed Tejasvi Yadav's victim card, alleging a cover-up and demanding answers from both the RJD and the Congress bloc.
2020 में भी आपके तेजस्वी यादव जी चुनाव लड़े थे, विधायक बने थे। 2025 का भी आप देख सकते हैं इलेक्टोरल रोल, जिसमें अभी जो जारी हुआ है, दोनों में इस कोने पे आप एपिक कार्ड नंबर देख सकते हैं। आप देखिए 2020 और 2025 का एपिक कार्ड नंबर एक ही है, किंतु तेजस्वी यादव जी ने एक नया नंबर अपने ही वोटर कार्ड का दिखाया, जो गलत नंबर बताया गया था। कल प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस में जो बताया गया था वो वोटर आईडी कार्ड देखिए आप। तो दो वोटर आईडी कार्ड है, एक वोटर आईडी कार्ड जो मैंने आपको दिखाया और वह एपिक कार्ड के साथ यह है, और दूसरा वाला यह है जिसमें दूसरे एपिक कार्ड नंबर का जिक्र कल तेजस्वी जी कर रहे थे। यह है तेजस्वी यादव की हकीकत।
2 weeks in and beyond Operation Sindoor and SIR, there has been no coherent push from the Indie bloc.
SIR is very important for us. SIR, let the SIR be discussed. And of course, that Prime Minister must give explanation that how we are being joked all over the world, that the Trump has been repeatedly saying that it's a he who got the search done. So the Prime Minister must answer such questions, such issues will be raised.
SIR is one issue, the important issue right now, because ensuring a fair election in Bihar, this is the most important issue for us. We are raising it in Parliament.
No economic white paper or no room for constructive debate. And the ruling benches are questioning if opposition has really run out of agenda. Just noise, slogans and walkouts. So is the opposition serious about governance or only about disruption? Meanwhile, a foreign policy flashpoint has also erupted. With Donald Trump launching his tariff tirade, the opposition is also dancing to his tunes. Rahul Gandhi openly reiterated what Trump said about Indian economy.
Everybody knows this, except the Prime Minister and the Finance Minister. Everybody knows that the Indian economy is a dead economy. I'm glad that President Trump has stated a fact.
The centre responded through Piyush Goyal, assuring that India will protect its economic interests, come what may.
मात्र एक दशक से भी कम समय में भारत फ्रैजाइल 5 अर्थव्यवस्थाओं में से निकलकर दुनिया की सबसे तेजी से बढ़ती प्रमुख अर्थव्यवस्था बन गया है। यह भी अपेक्षित है कि हम कुछ ही वर्षों में तीसरी सबसे बड़ी अर्थव्यवस्था बन जाएंगे।
Also looming this week, Justice Yashwant Verma. An impeachment motion is on file. The matter is live in the Supreme Court. Sources say that the Speaker may take it up this week. If admitted, expect a political firestorm. This could be Parliament's next flashpoint. And quietly brewing in the back rooms, a high-stakes succession battle. Who will be India's next Vice President? BJP is said to be scouting a surprise candidate. Opposition, on the other hand, is targeting the Modi government, claiming that Thankar was forced out for going by the book.
नहीं, सरकार जवाब देना चाहिए, वो क्यों रिजाइन करे, कारण क्या है, इसके पीछे क्या राज है। हमको तो ऐसा दिख रहा है कि दाल में कुछ काला है।
But beyond the headlines, here's what is being buried under the chaos. Hard numbers, hard loss to the taxpayers. In just 2 weeks, over 3,700 minutes lost, rupees 47.4 crore of taxpayer money wasted. All because of this.
क्वेश्चन नंबर 181 श्रीमती लवली आनंद। सदन की गरिमा को बनाए रखे माननीय सदस्य। बैठिए, मैंने पहले भी कहा था तख्तियां नारेबाजी से करेंगे तो सदन नहीं चलेगा। सदन की कार्रवाई आज 2 बजे तक के लिए स्थगित की जाती है।
So as week 3 begins, Parliament must ask itself some tough questions. Will the opposition find a real agenda or just recycle outrage? What is the ruling dispensation gunning for?
The only agenda of our party or the government is to ensure that at least the legislative business must get ratified or passed by the Parliament as required under the rules and regulations of the Parliament.
And most of all, will Parliament finally work, or will the taxpayers bleed more crores into the chaos?
Ladies and gentlemen, this 5th of August marks 1 year of the coup in Dhaka, Bangladesh. Of course, that is not what Muhammad Yunus would like to call it. He instead prefers July Uprising Day. Call it whatever, but if it was one of the most blatant and unconstitutional power grabs in the history of the subcontinent. And we all remember very clearly what happened with Sheikh Hasina. Funded by foreign dollars, the deep state, interests in America, patrons in China. But what happened to the year of the promised reforms in Bangladesh? Realignment with Islamabad and Beijing, backdoor meetings with the Pakistan ISI, slamming the door on India, and there was much more. No election for Yunus, something that he promised. He said he will pave the way for future democracy in Bangladesh. But there will be one soon. We are hoping there is one soon in Bangladesh in the month of April, and hopefully next year a new government will be in place. An elected leader in Dhaka will be doing the talking. But until then, can Yunus keep the reins of power? Will he survive 2025? Here begins Act 2 of the story that starts with the court. Dhaka has fallen.
A year ago, democracy in Bangladesh was hijacked. The world watched in silence as shadows took over Dhaka. And the last vestiges of hope were trampled. And emerged from the shadows, Western deep state's darling, Professor Dr. Muhammad Yunus, who seized the power hand in an orchestrated coup.
He is known as to be the brain behind the whole revolution. So he denies it repeatedly. He said, not me, many others. But that's how he's recognized, that he's the brain behind the whole thing. It's amazing, meticulously designed thing. These are the guys. Let's give them a big applause.
Gone was Sheikh Hasina, the champion of Bangladesh's liberation story, erased from the textbooks, her Awami League, branded traitorous and banned. In the 12 volatile months since then, anti-India sentiments, radical Islamist nurseries, persecution of Hindu minorities, and open collusion with Dhaka's old tormentors have turned Bangladesh into a cauldron of uncertainty.
During the last 1 year, Bangladesh has become an epicenter of Islamists and jihadis and terrorism. Now, Islamists are seen openly marching on the streets of cities in Bangladesh, waving flags of Al-Qaeda, Islamic State, and other terrorist entities. So, in brief, we can say Bangladesh has been pushed into absolute chaos and absolute mess during the last 1 year.
While Yunus thundered about new beginnings, his actions have only been motivated towards consolidation of power. From outlawing the Awami League and restoring the radical Jamaat-e-Islami, Yunus is shredding school books and any standing remnant of Bangladesh's liberation history. He is on a mission to erase Bangladesh as we know it.
I think politically the issue for Bangladesh is that as it prepares for elections, where are the political entities that can vie for those in those elections? Awami League, of course, remains very unpopular, but BNP has not been able to get its act together, and BNP also is facing a leadership void. Extremist groups, religious groups that are trying to fill the void. So the challenge, I think, for Bangladesh is that can elections be held in a manner that would allow for liberal progressive voices to also continue to be to occupy the center space, or will that space go to extremist political entities, extremist religious entities, which I think increasingly are now filling the void.
At the heart of this mission is new political survival, with elections announced in Bangladesh for April of 2026. The clock for Yunus is ticking.
Yunus cannot run for election because he does not have supporter base. If he contests in any election in Bangladesh, his security deposit will be forfeited. So the future for Yunus is staying in power as long as possible illegally, and at one stage he will flee the country and land in any of the Western nations and take asylum.
The road to election isn't going to be easy. The Awami League, the party at the heart of Bangladesh's very existence, is out of the race. The BNP hasn't contested 2 of the last 3 general elections, and the Jamaat-e-Islami is an untested force in a vacuum without the Awami League. Interestingly, the students who were on the streets last year are still there. Even today, after a year since Hasina's ouster, trying desperately to finish what they started.
আওয়ামী লীগ এই বাংলায় আর একদিনও থাকতে পারবে না। এই সরকার যদি এটা নিশ্চিত না করে, সারা বাংলা অলরেডি ব্লকেড, এই ব্লকেড খোলা হবে না। সরকারের কাছে কোশ্চেন, আমার ভাই ওই জায়গায় গিয়ে আহত কেন হলো, আমার সহযোদ্ধা ওই জায়গায় গিয়ে আহত কেন হলো, তারা সহি সালামতে যদি ঢাকা না ফিরতে পারে, এই অবস্থান কর্মসূচি সারা বাংলাদেশে হবে।
Yunus too is trying his best with an indictment now announced against Sheikh Hasina.
2024 সালের জুলাই আগস্টে সংগঠিত মানবতা বিরোধী অপরাধের দায়ে তদানীন্তন প্রধানমন্ত্রী শেখ হাসিনা, তদানীন্তন স্বরাষ্ট্রমন্ত্রী আসাদুজ্জামান খান কামাল, তদানীন্তন ইন্সপেক্টর জেনারেল অফ পুলিশ চৌধুরী আব্দুল আল মামুনের বিরুদ্ধে আনুষ্ঠানিকভাবে অভিযোগ গঠন করেছেন।
Despite all this, can he survive the election cycle?
People understand that the country is heading towards absolute doom, and Yunus is not either not realizing the fact, or he is trying to hide the truth beneath lies and propaganda.
A year on, and Bangladesh is still desperately trying to get Hasina back. Nobody knows where she is in India.
এরপরেও আসামি শেখ হাসিনাকে আদালতে উপস্থিত করানোর ব্যাপারে রাষ্ট্রের পক্ষ থেকে তিনি যে দেশে পালিয়ে আছেন সেই দেশের সাথে সম্পাদিত এক্সট্রাডিশন চুক্তির আওতায় তাকে বাংলাদেশে ফেরত এনে বিচারের মুখোমুখি করার চেষ্টা রাষ্ট্র করেছে, কিন্তু সেই আহ্বানে চুক্তির অপর পক্ষ ভারত সাড়া না দেয় তাকে উপস্থিত করানো সম্ভব হয়নি। অপর আসামিও আসাদুজ্জামান খান কামাল, তিনি পলাতক আছেন, তিনিও আদালতে উপস্থিত হননি, তার বিরুদ্ধে নোটিশ জারি হওয়া সত্ত্বেও।
The people of Bangladesh, even though Awami League had been arrested, put in jail, many had been killed, still the people of Gopalganj came and protested and protested against the NCP and prevented them from desecrating the mausoleum of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. Bangladesh, over the 15 years of Sheikh Hasina, had become a very vibrant economy. They were growing at more than 6%, 6.5% each year. But now, with the the unrest, the violence, the uncertainty brought in by the Yunus regime,
Dhaka under Yunus has undone Bangladesh's foreign policy of decades, with closed-door meetings with the ISI becoming the norm and deeper military collaboration with Pakistan their resolve. A historic U-turn on the memory of 1971's genocide. Then there is China, and from his first visit onwards, Yunus made his ambitions of riding the dragon clear.
7 states of India, eastern part of India, called Seven Sisters. They are landlocked region of India. They have no way to reach out to the ocean. We are the only guardian of the ocean for all this region.
From A-Base's deal with Chinese to shocking scrappage of India's collaboration on Teesta River rejuvenation, Yunus has doubled down, ending up losing access to India's land ports.
Yunus' biggest blunder, I should say, was to become the chief advisor out of greed. He is a very greedy person. So he became the chief advisor, despite the fact that Yunus has a little bit of experience in running NGO, but not a country. So, being a person having experience in running NGO, he suddenly became the head of the government, and now in every step he is failing and failing and failing.
Ordinary Bangladeshis want change. The public mood, which was once welcoming, is now volatile. A year in office, Mohammad Yunus's Bangladesh is adrift.
Major public sentiment in Bangladesh today is one of great disappointment with the political situation, the economic situation, the social situation, because all the minorities are being killed. The people have got unemployment, there are no jobs, there's hyperinflation. So from every point of view, the situation in Bangladesh is very difficult today.
The army of Bangladesh that once marched with the protesters towards Sheikh Hasina's house is now fed up with Yunus. The writing on the wall is clear, and Yunus's future, just like Bangladesh, is uncertain.
People are looking for a change as soon as possible, and they are looking for a democratically elected government as soon as possible, and they want to get rid of this Yunus regime.
This August 5th, desperate attempts will return to Dhaka to rewrite history, but the story of Bangladesh is far from over. A year into office, Yunus is facing his reckoning as the eyes of the entire region are fixed on Dhaka. As April approaches, Yunus is confronted with the reality. Will justice, democracy, and history prevail? Or will the shadows linger for another year?
6 years ago, on the 5th of August, the Modi government announced a big decision. A decision that changed politics in India forever. Ground realities and a lot more, especially in Jammu and Kashmir. Article 370, a major roadblock in the way of getting Jammu and Kashmir back to the mainstream, was abrogated. Now, some say there will be a river of blood if Article 370 is abrogated. That's what they said back then, 6 years ago. Some said that there will be riots in Kashmir. But the frustrated, tension-torn civilians of Jammu and Kashmir proved them wrong. There are multiple issues that are currently being worked on. And a lot has changed on the ground in the last 6 years. Of course, you removed Pahalgam, which took place in April, the Pahalgam attack. But look at what happened before that, just when Kashmir was swinging back into the mainstream. And in this edition of Looking Forward, we delve into the immediate burning political issues in the Union Territory, and we look forward to the elections coming up.
क्या बोलते भेलपुरी खाने से मेरा पति साइड में था एक इंसान आया उसने उसको गोली मार मेरे पति का बच्चा लो हम बचा देगा कोई बात नहीं भाई तो
अरे नहीं हम लोग फौज हैं हम लोग बैठो हम लोग फौज हैं बैठो मेरे बच्चे को अरे हम लोग फौजी हैं
Identify, track, and punish every terrorist and their backers.
Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir has witnessed some crucial moments in the last few months. India's enemy tried to break the spirit.
We are different from the Hindus in every possible aspect of life.
Our religion is different. Our customs are different. Our traditions are different. Our thoughts are different.
पाकिस्तान ने कश्मीर के मेहनतकश लोगों की कमाई को रोकना था, इसलिए पाकिस्तान ने टूरिस्ट पर हमला किया। वो टूरिज्म जो बीते 4-5 साल में लगातार बढ़ रहा था।
But Jammu and Kashmir bounced back.
This is one of the most famous tourist spots. Tourists who come from within the country and also from across the country. But here you see the Shikara rides are right now functioning. As you can see, people from many states of India have come in and they are relishing this moment. This is their own country, part of their own country, which they want to enjoy. They had booked their tickets and they booked a vacation with their family, and all around us, in fact, we see that there are tourists from many other places.
A strong-willed government at the forefront and the spirit of Kashmiris showed that India will not give in to terror blackmail. In his first visit after the Pahalgam attack, Prime Minister inaugurated world's highest railway arc bridge, the Chenab Bridge. On August 5, J&K will mark the 6th anniversary of abrogation of Article 370. Moving aggressively on its way to normalcy, Jammu and Kashmir is staring at multiple issues, terrorism being the primary one.
कश्मीर में क्या बदलाव आया धारा 370 समाप्त होने के बाद? वहां स्टोन पेल्टिंग के इंसिडेंट्स जो 4 साल में 2010 से 2014 में 2654 थे, आज 0 है, 0। लास्ट 3 इयर्स 0। आर्टिकल उसी तरीके से वैली लगभग साल में 132 दिन बंद रहती थी, आज पिछले 3 सालों से एक भी दिन वैली बंद नहीं हुई है, एक भी दिन वैली बंद नहीं।
Pahalgam attack did shake the soul of Jammu and Kashmir. But there has been a relentless movement of joint forces against terrorism. Terrorists and their aides are in a state of panic. Ahead of the 6th anniversary, another issue that's hot in Jammu and Kashmir is the issue of statehood.
मुझे क्या इन 26 लोगों के मरने की इतनी कम कदर है कि मैं अब मरकज से जाके कहूंगा ना चलो 26 लोग मर गए, अब मुझे स्टेटहुड दे दो। स्टेटहुड की बात हमने पहले भी की, आगे भी करेंगे।
National Conference President Farooq Abdullah has announced a hunger strike on August 9th over his demand of statehood.
हम लोग लड़ रहे हैं इसके लिए। कब हमने बात बंद की है? उमर जब भी वजीर आजम से मिला, हर वक्त इस मुद्दे को उठाया उनके साथ, वो भी जानते हैं।
Congress is also keen on picking up the issue to revive its existence in the Union territory.
We want to reinstate the status of statehood of Jammu Kashmir. That is why these people came from Jammu Kashmir, different parts of Jammu Kashmir. They came with very great difficulty. Indian National Congress solidly stand with the people of Jammu Kashmir for this cause.
Since the abrogation of Article 370, Jammu and Kashmir saw elections taking place, tourism flourishing, new bridges being built, and Tiranga unfurling at Lal Chowk. Statehood might not be a far-fetched goal.
साउथ कश्मीर हो, नॉर्थ कश्मीर हो, जम्मू सूबा के तीनों रीजन्स हो, कश्मीर के तीनों रीजन हो, सब इस बात पर सहमत है कि स्टेट होना ज़रूरी है। और माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने और गृह मंत्री जी ने सदन में ही बताया है कि स्टेटहुड मिलेगी।
In the coming week, opposition plans protests over the issue. While CM Omar is hopeful to get an assurance during the ongoing monsoon session, Congress has announced a 3-week campaign in August. J&K Congress President has declared to observe August 5 as a black day and begin a chain hunger strike from August 9th to August 21st. Another issue that will define Naya Kashmir is the transformation on ground. The youth of Kashmir is clinging on to hope and leaving the stone pelter tag.
2016 की बात आई, 2016 में बुरहानवानी का दौर चल रहा था, तो सब लोग घरों से निकल आ रहे थे, तो हम भी निकल आ रहे थे। देखो मेरी भी टीन एज चल रही थी उस टाइम, 2016 में मेरी टीन एज चल रही थी, तो मैं स्टोन पेल्टिंग कर रहा था। अब लोगों को पता चला ये अच्छा रास्ता नहीं है, ये गलत रास्ता है। बिल्कुल ट्रैप अच्छा नहीं था, जो आज का ट्रैप है वो बहुत अच्छा है। लोग आराम से जी रहे हैं, अपना काम काज कर रहे हैं, अपना बिजनेस कर रहे हैं।
The people of Jammu and Kashmir are choosing tourism over terrorism.
हम देशवासियों को कहेंगे, बिहार वासियों को कहेंगे, आइए जम्मू कश्मीर घूमिए, बहुत सुंदर रहा, बहुत सुंदर है। वो डर नहीं है जो पहले भय तुरंत कर दिए थे आतंकी, वो ऐसी कोई बात नहीं है। जो लोग कह रहे थे पहलगाम जाने से, कश्मीर जाने से मन आतंकियों का, वो माहौल नहीं है, माहौल बहुत बदला हुआ है।
वर्कर कुछ नहीं है, सब लोग आओ, इंडियन आर्मी में भरोसा रखो, कुछ नहीं है, सब ठीक हो जाएगा। इंडियन आर्मी जब तक है कुछ नहीं होगा।
The Chief Minister himself is not hesitating to seek inspiration from other states. A stable economy, a purposeful youth, and an unstoppable development. If this is not the path to normalcy, then what is it? The naysayers continue their agenda.
इंटरनली आप देखते हैं जम्मू कश्मीर के हालात को। पहलगाम का इतना बड़ा हादसा हो गया जिसमें इतने हमारे मासूम शहरी मारे गए। पिछले 6 साल से UAPA हो, PSA हो, रोज़ छापे, रोज़ लोगों को बंद करना, जेलों में हमारे हज़ारों के तादाद में लोग बंद हैं, मगर उसके बावजूद भी जम्मू कश्मीर के हालात पहले से बदतर हो गए हैं।
Because a political party had an agenda which was to abrogate Article 370 doesn't mean it is correct. Merely because a political party gets a brute majority, what they have done is they have basically destroyed Jammu and Kashmir. And in 6 years, the BJP has been ruling Jammu and Kashmir. They are ruling through a proxy which is called as Lieutenant Governor.
नशा दब के यहाँ पे बिक रहा है, और रियासत के 2 टुकड़े करना, 2 यूटियाँ बनाना, और जम्मू कश्मीर का अवाम दुखी है क्योंकि यहाँ पे 2 पावर सेंटर होने के कारण जम्मू कश्मीर के अवाम को सुख नहीं मिल रहा। यहाँ के लोगों की दिक्कतें बढ़ रही हैं। जम्मू की अगर बात करें तो टूरिज़्म कोई ऐसा सेंटर नहीं बना कि जो इसके लिए बढ़ पाए और पर्यटक ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा यहाँ पे आ सकें। मिलिटेंसी जिसके आड़ में इन्होंने रियासत के 2 टुकड़े के लिए पहलगाम का हादसा आप लोगों के सामने चुका देने वाला हादसा यहाँ पे है।
They doubt the development of Kashmir but are ready to extend a hand to Pakistan. The Aman Ki Asha Brigade wants to play cricket with the terror nation.
खेलकूद होना चाहिए। अगर आप चाहते हैं शांति से रहो, अगर आप चाहते हैं कि हम अपना पैसा सारा जंग में खर्च ना करें, बेरोजगारी दूर करें, गरीबी दूर करें, तो आहिस्ता आहिस्ता आपको सिचुएशन को नॉर्मलाइज करना पड़ेगा, और खेलकूद उसमें सबसे अच्छी चीज़ है।
On the 6th anniversary of the abrogation of Article 370, Jammu and Kashmir now looks forward to establish its own new normal.
That's it on this edition of Looking Forward. We have a big news week coming ahead. Ladies and gentlemen, there's something happening. Elections coming up, there is action in Kashmir, and there are critical meetings taking place in the national capital. It is going to be a big week, and Republic will keep you ahead. Thanks for watching.